Hi guys, Kyle.
Sarah.
You know that because you're on our website.
Hey.
All right, so this week, West Coast Swing Wednesdays, we've got our inside roll techniques this week. So leaders, we're going to be working on shaping, elevating, understanding projection of where it's going to go in our follower's body.
Followers, we're going to be paying attention to distance, how to guide and manage. Ooh, that was cool, that angle.
You like that?
I do like that angle, Kyler.
But it's not quite right.
It's
you can
not
still see
right,
the
you can
corner.
still see the corner.
Yeah.
We'll get it right. Oh, that's going to be good.
I know.
Oh, we have such a big surprise for you guys to tell you. And we do. I don't even want to.
It's always a surprise.
Okay, sorry. So followers, to be honest, inside rolls are my favorite leaders. Inside rolls are my favorite pattern in West Coast Swing. Maybe a whip, but an inside roll gives me life. I like it.
My favorite's a
because,
sugar bush.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really? That's cool. I didn't know that.
I just like getting close to you.
Well, you don't just do sugar bushes with me.
I know. I didn't think you'd catch that.
Oh my god.
Did I fluster you?
No, you're just trying to make me jealous, and it doesn't work.
With
I'm
distance
just
learning?
too insecure with myself. Not that I don't have insecure moments, but I just don't. I won't live that way.
I have to
I
handle
just
something.
won't live that way. I choose to love women and to go. You know what? I'm not going to live that way. I'm sorry. You want me? You know it.
You know it.
You know it. That's what happens when you get together when you're like 15 and 16. You continue with that like adolescent banter. Whatever, it works for us. All right, you guys. So inside rolls are my favorite pattern. Kyle's adjusting. So, whoa, no.
Don't look at that.
No,
You're
too
just
cold.
keep talking. This isn't even happening.
Okay.
You know how it goes.
He's adjusting lights. I don't like it. All right. So inside rolls to me give a lot of options for followers, but there are a few details that I need from you leaders to be able to know how to fill the space cohesively with you. So for inside rolls, followers, framing is something that you can adjust to accelerate, decelerate. I pay attention if a leader is asking me to travel down a slot or to spin in place. But the first thing I want to do before Kyle goes into framing of an inside roll, and let us just show you, for those of you who are watching or are new to West Coast Swing, this is what an inside roll is. Just like everything else is 6 counts, except a whip, same with our inside roll. So the count is 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. It's a left side pass while rolling, yeah, over the head. So
That can be done from closed position, right to right hand hold, left to right hand hold.
yeah.
I don't call left to left inside
Yeah, you
roll.
do call it a left to
I
left.
would call left to left outside turn
Oh, you do?
because it's an outside turn relative to the hand you're holding.
You know what's something I really adjusted in that also?
What?
Is that like, I feel like I was watching a lot of my old videos, and every time I was in this position, I would always be like, and really over prep for such an inside, where if a leader is wanting me to do that, normally I get a draw down line of this. Boom, boom, where I really feel that lead, right?
Okay.
But when I don't get that, when I get a lottie-dottie, I find that my 1, 2, and if I do my prep and 3 here, instead of getting over prepped and I hold this side of my body back, it creates a better shot. Anyways, I don't know why I said that because I'm proud of it. I'm sure there's some.
Your hair color looks really good.
I don't know. I got to go to my hair lady today for the first time. She cut out all the weight, which is great, but it's a slight ashy blonde for me, so I'm gonna fix that. I always do when I come home. It's just
I like it
always.
though.
Thanks, babe.
All right, so back to you.
So back to us. So what I want to cover on leaders a little bit with an inside roll are the things that I need as a follower,
Okay.
right? So I need to know the height of the turn.
Okay.
And I read that through the prep. So the prep is everything to me. It's how I know if it's going over my head, right?
Now, I know that we have a slight height difference
Just
between the two of us.
slightly.
Just a mild one.
A
So
foot, to be exact.
I don't have to really raise my arm much to get it to go over Sarah. So my elevation from where our perspective connection lies to getting it over Sarah's head is going to be different with this follow than if I was dancing with somebody who I was the same height with, who would have need the elevation all the way up here for the prep. So here's the trick with this, guys. If you can pay attention to at least sloping when you want to go over your follower's head, you don't have to prep at the height of release, especially if you have a really tall follow, but you need to be elevating in the prep so that it can continue to elevate once you start to turn the follow.
Well, let's let's talk about this for a second. Would you agree in the lead that height can take away length, right? So as you raise that hand up, it's gonna cause me, if I was gonna go take a really big step, right? A really big step and lift that hand up, it's gonna short step me.
Yes, I can see that happening.
That's what happens. Because I really feel it because leaders are used to leading taller.
So you're saying they
check
go
this
long
out.
and then straight up.
Right. So most leaders, other than like the ones that lead based upon the followers frame, all get a lead down line and then an extreme lift because they're used
It'll
to
short
lifting and it short steps me, so I end up spinning, which is not a big deal because all that happens, do it really quick,
I can't.
lift it up, all that, no gut property.
I don't know how to go
All
wrong.
that, okay. So all that happens is I end up getting more of a turn in place than down line, where when I get a slope, I get that, still that lift, but that draw down line when it's gradual. And so for me, I prefer that. Because when you take a drastic difference of starting to set me driving this way down the line and then you lift that frame, it's gonna cause me to short step. And if that's what you mean, cool.
That's a weird way to like, I would even, if you're trying to short step the follower to do a 1-footed spin, it should be starting somewhere from the anchor to the 1-2. I wouldn't let that
Like,
happen
isn't this
on
something you
2.
would use? Didn't we do that one time in a routine where you like led me forward and then you, remember that? You spun me in front of
Yeah,
you?
but that would happen here to
There.
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 See, I countered against it?
Yeah.
Because I set you with a 1-footed. So that's a different pattern, guys. We're talking traveling inside patterns right now, okay? So we have to imagine that one of the things that we do on some of our stuff is, and we don't want to give you all of our secrets, but watch, hover, touch, and lead is one of the skill sets that we use for you. And one of the concepts is finding the shape that my follower wants. So if I can see what my follower needs for a second, she's doing a 1, a 2, I've got to watch where her arm wants to be during a turn. A lot of us, when we do turns...
Can you go overhead real quick, Kyle?
Yeah, so a lot of us, when we do turns, we take 1, 2, and as we do this, we go directly over our follower's head. And then we let our follower turn, go ahead, let the follower turn, and then we bring it back down. So what I need to do is I need to take this over to my follower, and I need to create the circle around my follower where her arm wants to be. I'm not going to bring this over my follower's head, I'm going to bring this around my follower's head. So this circle is going to create a circle. And notice that I'm tracking my follower's width. Now, it's easy to do, I get it, when I have this little thing right here that I have to go over. So this height of me turning the hand is pretty easy to get this circle going, right? But if I can take that same concept and with a taller follower, I can't make that same circle. I can't push too far past my follower's head if I'm the same height. So my reach has to at least kind of tilt a little bit to allow me to get past my follower, all right? And that's our goal, especially if we have a taller follower in front of us. So our goal, one more time, leaders, and we'll do it from the front view for just a second. We'll turn around and let you guys follow us on the back end in just a second. So from the 1, as we elevate to prep, remember, we're not going to get directly at the height we need. We're going to start to slope up into the 2. We may not be at the height of getting over our follower's head yet, but at least we're sloping into that direction.
Pause right here. Kyler, can you go overhead?
Yeah.
Thanks, babe. So right here, followers, if I was to widen my frame and open that up, what I mean by that is to open up my elbow out and lift that, that's going to cause a wider turn. If I have a leader that's initiating me with an available space to fill, at times I can embellish that and pick a shape, but I will do it as I'm settling into the prep. I feel that a lot of followers, maybe your default is to do that all in one moment. So you will come forward, you'll do the prep, and then you widen in the turn, and it catches the leader off guard. So what I suggest is that once you come forward and you get into that prep, I see how I can fit into that prep with whatever shape I want. If I go wide, I'm going to make sure I'm going to thin out my rotation in the first one so I can get past my leader. On a general basis, I would allow that to stay aligned with my shoulder and I wouldn't open it up as much if I wanted to make a faster turn.
Real quick, come back to normal view. Leaders, a lot of us, now we need to get close to the camera for this, babe. Come here real quick. So in the handhold, guys, the more that we elevate this out and turn the wrist over, the more we push that elbow open. A lot of us are forcing our followers to really get a, yeah, totally. And actually kind of maybe on this angle here. So yeah, so they can see this here. Now, is that not the good angle? I need to see the preps because the rotation.
Oh, okay.
Oh. So what's happening here, leaders, as you rotate this open, you're creating this lift out of the lat. And rather than your follower tilt, they're going to stay level. and they're going to let their arm do the work. Well, you've just done this to their frame. And so you now turning your hand this way is going to be a negative effect to the follower. So you got to think of keeping the elbow at least drooping down until you get into the rotation.
Ew, I don't like the word drooping.
Drooping, turn down a little bit. Yeah. So instead of thinking leaders turning this one, open the hand towards the audience.
Because that's
for
what
two.
you're asking for.
If she follows where the neutrality of this would be, that'd be where the finish is. You need to find where that fits the follower shaping up into rotation. It doesn't mean that we just keep the hand flat all the way through the turn. I completely understand that. But as you rotate that, the rotation will dictate how far that elbow goes open. So we need to make sure we find that elbow track and then let your follower set it with you. Yes? We have a question?
I love that about like
This is
workshops.
random, but in inside rolls in particular, I can see how Sarah's frame / connection is going through the connected arm back down through the opposite hip.
I love you, Kristen Shaw. This is what makes good teachers. Are we frozen? Are we frozen, anybody?
It's a weird thing.
That's a weird thing. Are we just frozen?
No, the top camera. Switch to the top camera, buddy. Now switch transition back.
I think it's the camera itself and not the OBS.
Hold tight just one moment, everybody. Go to the top, over the top, to the top view right now. All right, guys, what calls adjusting that camera? Are we still live?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, Kristen, I love you. What I was saying was, I really love this about teachers who see the effect through the body. And I am always thinking about what's going on in my caboose. Like, to me, one of the things I love about swing is I love the feeling of the connection in the upper body and the lower, there we go, I think we're back, yay! And the lower half of the body swinging, like, oh my gosh, that feeling is just heaven on earth. And so I find in the inside rolls, I love the delay of that back left hip before the turn. I like choose how much I engage that back hip to drive through or delay. This is why I love inside rolls. There are so many options. And as a follower, how I settle into that prep can really, really communicate well to my leader what we can do in the moment or what I'm feeling or offer up some kind of suggestion.
I feel
I love you, Kristen.
I feel in that moment of prepping, it's an open opportunity for you to communicate something if you feel musical in that moment. And I feel sometimes from Sarah, as I go to prep this, one, if she kind of stretches into this and holds me in that moment, I know, hey, I've got time to maybe arc the turn through something. She's giving me time in that moment. So that communication of hesitation in your framework, oh my God, there it goes again.
Mm-hmm. It's okay, go to the top camera.
What's going on?
It's okay, go to the top camera. We're still here. And we're still here. I am so glad we pushed our launch to the 15th because we're getting all this out now. And it's okay, Sarah, don't freak out. All right, so going back to the inside rolls, followers, we're gonna go back to our part. I'm gonna give you a couple options of styling points. I've taught this in the workshops many times. One of my favorite people to watch do this process through an inside turn. I love Emmeline and I love Larissa Tingle's inside turns. She kills this footwork I'm going to show you right now. I've taught it at ESS, an amazing camp. I know probably a lot of you guys have been there to ESS. I'm frozen on top now too. Are we off, guys? Are we here? I don't know if you guys can hear me. So if you can hear me, I'm gonna keep talking. If we're black, just wait for it for a second. The screen will pop up in just a moment. Yes, they can still hear me. Good, okay. Actually, let's use this right now till they get it back up. Without watching me, followers, if you're standing in your place, and leaders, you can do this too. It's good to know both. Weight your left foot, don't break into your hip, feet together. We're in an anchored position, but we haven't settled in and stretched yet. So I'm 50-50 your weight right now. Good, good, good. I like to wait to transfer over to the left side of my body when it's time to go on the anda, when I'm dancing by myself. Now, when I'm with the leader, I really pay attention to which side of the body the leader is favoring. Right now, followers, when you're working with yourself, you have to be able to train for the unexpected. And I think something that I continue to work on in my dance is finding these defaults that are mine that get in the way of finding us when I'm dancing with someone else. And so followers right now, 50-50 your weight, you're gonna weight back onto the left side of your body with your head weight, take it over. You're gonna stretch into that hip as you step forward for 1. You're on your right foot. Get over that foot, go ahead and go back. Followers, weight your left foot, put your right foot ahead of you. Many of you will put your foot out ahead of you and wait until it's time to lift your left foot for 2. And sometimes that adds too much momentum to your inside roll, okay? So 50-50 your weight again, followers. Now I'm gonna have you stretch over to the left for anda, and I want you to relieve your left side by moving to the right side forward. There's your 1, good. Now, as you prep on 2, followers, I want you to stabilize your rib cage, come forward on your left foot, but allow your rib cage to stay framed. 2. Are you on your left foot? Say yes. Yes, good. Wiggle that right knee just a little bit. Good, come back. 50-50 your weight. Move over to the left side of your body, followers. As I stretch into that left hip, I'm gonna release my right heel and drive forward onto my right foot. Good. Now, as I go forward onto my left foot, I'm going to also take my head weight with it. 2, pull that right hip back just a little bit. That right hip flex is how I will many times filter the prep that the leader has given me if it has too much load. What I mean by that is, let's say we were talking about at first when a leader maybe will lead you down line and then lift and prep all in once in 2. When that happens, it can overload the connection to cause an over-rotation at the end. Followers, when I feel that, I will adjust my back right hip that I'm releasing from to help relieve too much momentum, or if I need to resist a little bit more to get more momentum. Cool? So go ahead and try that again. We'll see how long this stays up. Followers, weight your left side of your body, step forward with your right foot for 1. Are you on top of it? Yay. I'm gonna step forward with my left foot for 2. Here we go, 2. This is our prep. I'm gonna pull my right hip back just a bit. Good, good, good. I'm gonna do a quarter of a rotation for 3. I'm gonna do a half a rotation, left shoulder back for and another half a rotation for 4. Anchor back 5 and 6. Good. I know we're going in and out of camera, guys. Stay with me. Can everybody still hear us okay? Oh, it is?
Keep going.
Okay, good. They can see me? Okay, cool. All right, let's try this again. In fact, followers, I'm going to turn around and face the wall. So we're going to come forward for 1. Step on top of that foot, get over it. We're going to get prepped for 2, get over your foot. 2. I'm going to use that back right hip to load the connection or to relieve it, to dissipate it by relieving how much stress is in that hip based upon what's going on in the frame. Quarter of a turn for 3, half a turn for and, half a turn for 4, anchor 5 and 6. Now, check this out. If you are an instructor watching this, or you are a student that has been taught to do an inside roll differently, awesome. What is beautiful about inside rolls is that they're not done one way. What's important for me, so that I can have diversity in my style, I want to be able to move differently through music with different partners. And so if I set myself up while training to make a decision of how much I rotate on 3 and 4 every single time, I could be setting myself up to default into something that's not going on in the connection. So the reason why I am neutralizing that rotation is so that I am available to be steered. Yeah? So I may get one leader.
Steered?
Steered.
Is steered a word?
Yeah.
You mean steered?
Steered. So I may get one leader that asks me to completely face them by 4. and that rotation is actually straight back. Awesome, I love inside rolls like that. I may get one leader that wants me to rotate all the way more than a half a turn on 3 and get all the way around. I may get a leader that doesn't want me to turn all the way to the end of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. And this is why I love inside rolls. Can you go to overhead, Kai? So, leaders and followers, this is why tracking is so important. You're gonna learn all about that on our new program. Yeah, so you see overhead, this is a train track, yeah? As I get moving forward on 1, I get that prep on 2. 2, I'm choosing how much I'm gonna load this back hip, right? But the reason how I know how much to turn is when my leader crosses center line, that's when I know to rotate. Well, if my leader is drawing me down line and the rotation is still here, I'm gonna follow that, I haven't been turned. But how would I know that if I didn't have some kind of system set up to read rotation?
Because if you followed off of the prep,
Yeah,
you could just be like turning without your arm.
right,
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
yeah, no,
Yeah, I see this happen a lot of times.
me too.
Well, guys and followers, you'll take the prep given, like the prep, and then the leader will want to do something with that, but you're turning way ahead of them, so start turning. So you're turning back against the arm, so it looks
I
really
just don't
awkward.
move that way.
Yeah, it's really odd. So what I'll see is I need you leaders to think, if you're going to slow something down, followers, wait till this is crossing your center line to really commit to the rotation before it happens.
Oh,
yeah?
you're gonna have so much fun with inside
All right,
rolls
flip
when
back
you
around.
do that. So followers, this is how I would like you to practice this week. We're gonna let leaders take over in just a moment, but followers, so tracking, right? I've got my shoulder, my elbow, and my wrist in alignment. When that hand starts to cross center line, I'm gonna commit to that rotation. I'm gonna allow it to tether. And I'm talking about, this is where your sensory moments are. If you want to allow that to cross all the way across your body and stylistically step through, I sure hope that's going on. But the only way you're going to be able to know it's a variation is by knowing the constant. I need to know a constant as a leader and follower before I can appreciate variables. Yes? So get this in front of you, followers, and as you practice, I'm going to do this in front of you. You're going to pay attention to one time you're going to do an inside roll. You're going to prep yourself here, and you're not going to cross it. You're going to come forward 3, and then you'll decide where on 4 you want to cross and allow that to work with your rotation. And then the next time maybe you'll go through and you'll decide that you're going to turn early on 3 and then back across. Start playing with different timing and rotation through that inside roll.
I think we've always married foot position and rotation.
Yeah, try us out, guys.
Yeah, there's been
Big
some stuff that we watch. I watch Sarah do a lot, and she won't dictate her timing and position within her turn. Turning is one thing, rhythm is one thing, and position is one thing.
Wouldn't it be the same dance all the time if I did that?
Yeah, because triple steps can happen mid-rotation. It's like
Totally.
you can be like 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, 1 and a 2. It's still an inside roll. The skill sets are still the same. Now, placement, understanding of what's happening underneath your body, where things are going, those are all going to be things that you can manage through. But the whole concept is to follow the rotation. And when you set a point to connect to, whether you set it a little bit wider or you let it cross a little bit, I mean, there's tons of times where followers, you get to vector this. If you want to wait till this goes all the way past you before you start to rotate, that's some styling.
And what's cool is the leader can feel when something like that is changing. Because let's think about this. There's only so many trigger points, right? There's inside turns, outside turns, pushes.
Inside out turns.
Inside out turns. There it is.
There it is.
But the point is just if I could, no.
It's an inside out turn.
Yeah. Can't wait till Kyle can start to pull one of you out of the workshop for
Thank
that.
you. Prep you off.
So to me, if you get really good tools like that, when a leader is starting to take you into a moment where this inside turn, they all of a sudden take the top of your elbow and you know, yeah, wherever, baby, this is cool. Followers, and you've presented frames and understanding where these boundaries and they can feel the change. And all of a sudden it becomes a moment that you can start to work inside of and play with. This is something that you'll find will advance you by understanding the fundamental basic. It's a different kind of thinking because it's not, I step here, my frame goes here. It's, this is how I react to this kind of leading or positioning, yeah?
Now, whether that's happening with my left to right hand hold or my right to right hand hold, I'm still going to create that same elevating
Go
action.
overhead, baby.
So even here, so if I go across hand, a lot of times what will happen, leaders, you'll change all this good tracking information to here, and then you go cross hand, and then it happens like this between the two of you. And you're not tracking the partnership. I still track my followers' framework in their arms. It doesn't get aligned. It will if I pull it out and I allow myself to elongate the connection out. It will pull into place. But now, once I move over to prep this inside turn during my anchor, I'll kind of leave my hand here to keep it on my follower's track side. Then I'll start to track the forward step, the prep through elevation, and then from here, I can take this up over my follower's head with other options if my follower sees that there's new things happening, yeah? So let's go back and do it again. We've got right to right handle this time, leaders. Let's do this with you guys facing the TV at this point.
Do you want him forward facing him?
This, you can do it however he feels that it would be a good learning experience right now. Now, but if you came to kylesarah.com and you were taking this kind of class on our web teaching stuff, you would get to choose your view. You go, oh, I want to see that overhead. And you could change while we're talking, all in time. You could just be like, I'll click to this. Oh, I want to see the side view. What's that? Back it up. Oh, I'll watch
This is why
front.
we've taken our time to get it right. We really considered the user experience when you see our new membership program. Please join us June 15th. We are going to be going live and letting you guys all ask questions about it while you're on it. It'll be great.
Perfect. All right, let's go again. So we've got our right to right. So right now we've got our overhead. So let's do this right now. Everybody put your weight on your, leaders put your weight on your left foot.
Followers on the right.
Now, yeah, but right now as we're going to anchor this out, leaders, I'm not going to go anchor step, and as I lead project with myself in the alignment, kind of go over, oh, you are, okay, good.
He's on it.
So as we anchored over to the side here, I don't want to bring this and track this over with me. I'm not going to let this line up. If I was, this would probably project like an angled sugar push. All right, but if I'm gonna plan this to anchor over here, if I'm gonna plan to anchor over here and project, I'm gonna try and track my follower out a little bit more. So as we anchor step, I've still fed the energy to this side of my follower, okay? From here, as we track in, leaders, remember, we're trying to draw our follower forward at the right side of their body. There's the 1. From here, as we prep and we start to elevate through 2. From here, we're gonna think big circle around, 3 and 4, anchoring 5 and 6. Now, one of the things that I didn't get to because Sarah was talking the whole time when I was fixing cameras, I didn't get a chance to teach you where I draw this energy from within my inside turn. Leaders, if you can right now, face the TV with me, and if you want to put a little bit of an angle on this, imagine we're taking the circle. The circle doesn't come from my wrist. I try not to do this. Now, there's extreme circumstances within this. Things like height of the partnership will dictate how the circle tilts for the presentation of the prep for the follower. The arc of push within the turn is going to be something I have to deal with relative to where I prep it at. So this is going to be a variable action, but the feeling should come from a really similar place, all right? My goal is to initiate and follow through my turn with the back of my elbow. A lot of people start turns and they turn with the wrist and the hand, but they don't take into account the pull or follow through from the back of the arm to create the shaping, especially on the last rotation so that you can retract on the track line. So making this a little bit easier so you can see, imagine if there's a circle, the exit of the circle, if it is here, is going to be going that direction. We have to exit circles in the direction that we want our followers to go. So as I'm pulling that connection across inside and I finish this out and around, the circle is going to end back towards me. So imagine, leaders, take your hand up above you right now. Imagine your followers coming out of your turn. So as you're doing this, picture where your hand is coming down across your body. So you've just come to the 4. You're coming around on the 4 on your right foot, leaders. Yes, this is your follower right now, leaders. And as this hand comes down, it doesn't come down right where this foot is. This doesn't happen right here. That actually comes down, and the length of the arm goes that direction. Where are you? You're there. So your follower is now coming down, having to retract their frame so that they can back away from your extended framework. And by you just giving your arm to the 4, you're now giving the follower so much space that they have to then retract frame to feel comfortable. So our goal in this, can I borrow you for a second, babe? If we can get this to where we retract back inside 2, 3, and I had to retract that. So now I have room to feed Sarah's 5 and 6.
Can you go overhead one time, Kai?
Again, we've got our 1, track, 2, down line 3, and now the hand is not going to end right here. It's not going to end over there. It's because if Sarah turns to 4, go and put your 4 down, 4, then I've got to give this length out for a second so that I can then feed the rope to Sarah for 5 and 6.
But you have to do that without resisting. Ew,
It's a funny line, keeping extension without resistance, if that makes sense. Yes? Yeah? All right, so I need you to think, when you're coming around on this is a variable moment to be able to retract frame so your follower can get the extension out of their 4. Yes? So here we go again. Inside turn twice. 1, 2, 3, retract, and feed the rope. Again, track in, track out, draw in to feed the rope. Now I'm doing it extreme. It's a little bit tighter space for us to dance in, but if we're dancing in greater space than 15 squares, you might be in a really good studio.
Well, that may be the way things are right now. We may actually.
We get a 15 space piece.
Yeah, I will say this. You've heard us say it. If you've been our friend or our student or both, we really believe in learning in tight space, getting control over the choices in your body, and then using that experience to push the boundary lines in your body. So
every time I've had issues in my Jack&Jills or control in my Jack&Jills, over exuberance in my Jack&Jills, is because I've pushed the envelopes too big. I've tried to get too large in my movements. And every time that I retract that back in, it feels better to me. I don't feel like I'm kind of pushing so hard for the dance. But B, I get a lot more success from my judges.
And I also feel like, have you ever tried to set up like a good time and you tried so hard, like that one, you were so exhausted, you set up the good time, you couldn't have the good time, and you forced it, like over planning. And you find that sometimes if you just set the scene and allow it to develop, it'll turn into something better than you ever could plan.
Oh,
and
isn't that what a choreographer does?
Yes. And that is exactly what should happen with each dance.
Yeah.
It's starting there. That was our little weekly Wednesday tune-up. Today was inside rolls.
So let's go back through this.
Let's cover what we're working on this week so that next week, same time, same place, same price, free.
Free next week again. Please join us again.
I love doing this. It actually is really therapeutic. So what we want you to focus on this week, followers, is that you're going to learn to manage your rotation without a lead. If you have a leader that you're working with, try to do the hover lead first so that you can still gather that skill. If you want to implement it with a partner, great. But I would like you to work on that solo first on your own, yeah?
For us, we want to make sure that we're prepping out and away.
Floor! Philippe and Floor. Yes, baby, this is our, what did we call it?
Gradio.
Gradio. It is our garage turned studio. And I love everything you're doing online, Miss Floor. You are so inspiring. I just love your love for West Coast swing. Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, weren't you doing roller skating recently?
Yes! I was like, this is so cool.
I love roller skating.
Yeah, it's so cool. So back to our inside roll.
So leaders, we're looking at elevating and sloping leads relative to the height of our follower. If you can prep it because you're taller than your follow and you can get it above the eyes, that's great. But if you can, set the slope line to where it aims to go over whoever's head you're kind of going with. If Sarah was going to slope her arm right now, no, just to me, the slope of this would hit me in the face, but the slope of that would not hit me in the head. So I could see that if Sarah was going to turn me, that if her slope was on a line that could clear me within the angle that she's created, I know that I can get underneath it, or I have confidence getting underneath it.
And to be real, if I was to do that, I would keep way more of my left side towards Kyle so that I can get that lift in that angle, yeah? Cool.
Did I do a good turn?
Big follow.
Beautiful.
Couple things to touch on to look forward to. Next Wednesday, we're going to be here. We're going to be throwing a backyard session going on pretty soon on KyleSarah.com.
We were going to do it tonight, but it's 102 degrees.
Yeah,
and it's
so
going to be really late before it cools out.
In the next couple nights right now, it's been really crazy because
Last
feel
time we were
like we
supposed to
need
do
some
it.
dance therapy,
We
but
normally do Tuesdays,
It's
but
just-
yesterday was blackout day. So
yeah, and
we
we
don't wanna be
really needed
disrespectful.
to, you know, I want to say something as we come to a close, and that is, for me, one of the things I always look for in my relationships, whether they be my friendships, my family with my children, and it's something that I really try to work on myself, is to reflect and be okay with saying, hey, I could have done that better, or the way I'm able to do that and move forward is to keep a clear intention. And so let's just make sure that through all of us right now navigating such a hard time in life, that if we have a good intention of supporting each other and treating each other with respect and kindness and equality, it's real easy to look past those flaws. And Kyle always talks about in Jack and Jill's when he's judging, he never wants to have shaded glasses on, like he's, rose-colored glasses. If you already like someone and you look at them through that, you're gonna not see the faults as much. Where if you have somebody that you look at negatively, you're not gonna see the positives. You really need to have a clear vision. And a lot of people are working hard to get that. And so the way you can count on Kyle and I to be leaders in this community is to have good intent, support in any way we can, and if we ever misstep or hurt, we're going to learn from that and we're going to correct it. And we're
Promise.
also going to assume the best out of you. And we love you guys, and we're grateful for you. And check us out next Wednesday. We'll see you then.
yeah. Thank you,
Palshair.com. Thank you, everybody.
guys. Yeah.
Mwah. Thank you, Andreas. Bye, you guys.